Hard work matters, but without a framework, even your best effort becomes fragile. So you can grind all day, but if you don't know what to repeat or why you're doing it, you'll just burn energy and stay stuck. Clarity doesn't come from thinking more, it comes from thinking better. And the way to get there is simple. Shut out the noise, protect the signal, and build your own filter for what matters. This episode isn't about replacing effort, it's about protecting it. Hard work is the entry fee, but the next level of agency, of control, of results that actually compound, that level demands something more. Clarity. And clarity doesn't come from more thinking or more effort. It comes from deletion. That's my take on this episode anyway. There's a lot on these two topics, of course, but we'll also find out that there's a lot of noise. So from deletion, we're not just removing distractions, but we are ruthlessly filtering out everything that doesn't move your mission forward, including things that don't energize you, and certainly things that don't matter. That's what we're talking about today.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
You're doing what every high-performing engineer is told to do. You show up early, you stay late, you knock out problems, you handle the unexpected, you be dependable, you're sharp. You're what others say is someone that can be counted on. And you are. But the days feel heavier than they should, like every outcome takes more energy than it's worth. And depending on how long you've been an engineer, you're either really feeling that right now, you're starting to feel it, or you're wondering where your work productivity is going. There are many things to make your day feel heavier than it should. This episode covers one big one. You're overloaded, and it's not what you think it means. We'll get into more of that. And here's the hard truth. The overload that you're experiencing, you've allowed it. Nobody forced you to take on too much. Nobody mandated the thought loop within your own mind, the distractions, the task pile-ups. You said yes, you left the door open, right? You gave away your attention without protecting your energy. And what I call this is you accepted the noise. But just like you allowed it, you can unallow it. The workload isn't the real problem, it's the mental clutter surrounding it. The noise in your head, the responsibilities you never filtered, the inputs you never questioned. So that filter, basically, that you forgot to install. I recommend that we install that and we start deleting a lot. There's so much noise that you can allow to enter your headspace, and it takes so much of your energy and time just debating within your own head, trying to reprioritize, making another list, and on and on and on. We're going to start deleting things, and we're going to put in one simple framework, if you want to call it that you can come up with on your own, of course, but with the aim of filtering out the noise. When you finally cut that out, all this noise, when you're running on pure signal, which is the goal, get as close to signal, to true signal as you can, the heavy days shrink, they deflate, and more often than not, you start to see what really matters, and all that noise that you have to go through to get to that, if you ever do, starts to become less and less common. So the lever or the framework or the idea, of course, that I'm talking about is deletion. We're not adding things, right? We're not adding systems and processes and steps and adding more complexity. We're not optimizing. So what you have in front of you right now, we're not going to make any of it better. We're not going to spend a ton of time trying to solve that elusive, if we just did this, things would be better. It's not another app you can install. It's not a system. It's not a productivity hack. It's just, if there's anything to take away from this episode, that you just get to let things go. You just get to delete. And I love deletion. It works for shrinking timelines. It works for cutting noise. It works for honing in on the real problem. You don't even know how much you have that you can just get rid of. And I would say that most engineers try to solve overload by doing more, right? So I certainly have. In my past, I've just doubled down on doing more and more and more and faster and faster and faster, and just working harder and harder. It didn't work out so great for me in the long run. There are, of course, times to work really, really hard. But when you can work really, really hard on the focused things, on the signal, and you filter out all the noise, that's when you can get some serious shit done. So really the problem isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of having these filters. You don't need more energy, you don't need another cup of coffee, you don't need a ton of breaks, you don't need this one thing that is eluding you to just boost your alpha brain and get you working super smart and fast. There's often way more productivity to find in taking away and subtracting. So you don't need more energy, you just need fewer leaks. You need the energy that you put in and that you do have to not go to anything else other than what you need it to. And some of the blockages to this mindset that I certainly had when I was figuring this out is that there's always a justification. So we are first to defend what we do instead of changing immediately. We justify every input. We call it being prepared, being informed, being responsible. And this is inside and outside of work. This is life. Everything that chunks up to what you are and who you are and your being and how you move through the world. It's work, it's life, it's everything. But the justifications we give ourselves are disguises. Every input you allow without intention is a cost, and every unfiltered obligation is a tax on gaining clarity and sifting through the noise to find the signal. Deletion is the move no one talks about, or at least not a lot of people talk about, which is why I want to talk about it. Deletion definitely feels selfish. Perhaps that's why most people don't talk about it. But I don't see it as being selfish. I see it as being strategic. And I heard a definition of strategy being something along the lines of choosing the priority for your resources and the allocation of those resources amongst an infinite number of options. And I thought that was great, and I thought it applied to this deletion strategy that I'm talking about, which is basically, where do we apply our energy amongst all of the things that we can apply our energy to? We have limited energy to give, and there is a seemingly infinite number of things for which to give that energy. So I think adopting that definition of what strategy is was good for me, and I think it will be good for some others too. So ask yourself, while you're trying to figure this out, does this thing that I'm working on, thinking about, deserve to exist in my system, in my mind, the thing that I have ultimate control over? Does this belong there?
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also that if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
And why? Why not? Is this helping me execute my mission or just distracting me from it? It's another good question to ask yourself. And I would say, if the answer isn't clear or you don't have an immediate, yes, this is absolutely fundamentally important to my mission, then I would just delete it, because I don't think you're going to miss it. I certainly didn't. So I'll tell you a quick story now that I've outlined my position on this deletion strategy and a couple of things that you can do to start thinking about it and why it might be helpful. I think the most applicable story that I have from my experience is being in an early management role. So I was in a management role, typical things. People, projects, problems, directing the team. I was the information gatherer, the communicator, the assembler of the minds to get the things done. It all started and stopped with me, which is pretty typical in a project management position. And so when things are set up that way, obvious bottlenecks start to appear. So I was the bottleneck a lot of the time. So earlier in my career, it was, pretty chaotic. I didn't have a system which to delete things. I would chase all the things. I'd try to do all the things right all the time. And so I'd have many things to attack at the same time, which you just cannot do. I would be juggling fires, doing things that, felt really important, one thing to the next, and making zero actual progress. Then, a few years in, right, because I'm slow to learn, I've adopted things that help me improve the speed at which I change now, which has been amazing. But back then, early on, it was pretty slow. I made a rule for myself, and it's very simple. And I think if you asked anybody that has ever been on my team or interacted with me on a project, they probably know this rule because I was very vocal about it, to hold myself accountable above everything else, I think. So the simple rule was, if someone is waiting on me, they are the priority. Everything else was just noise. So that was it. If someone is waiting on me, they are the priority. If someone was waiting on me for information, direction, anything that affected the critical path on that project, for them, for me, for the client, I deleted everything else until I got it to them. It cleared my bottleneck issue, and it gave me extreme clarity on what I should be doing. It was easy to find the one priority and get it done, and then move to the next. So diving a little deeper into what that means, if someone is waiting on me, they are the priority. Of course, there was some context beneath that at which I operated. So if my timing affected the other person's deadlines, so my direct reports, other team members, vendors, the client, whomever, if it affected the deadlines, everything else waited. So the meeting I had waits. The spreadsheet that I needed to finish up and make perfect waits. The cut sheet that I needed to download, find, waits. The vendor email, if it's not directly tied to the person that needs my information the most, it waited. The call I needed to make, again, if it wasn't the priority, it waited. So all these things I used to fill my to-do list with, inside and outside of work, it waited if that someone was not waiting on me for critical information. It waited. And this is kind of like the modern world we live in, but there's so many distractions, even the phone in my hand, giving me notifications, the damn news serving up headlines to me that don't ever tell the full story. They're just built to steal your attention, sell you a narrative anyway, and we give so much time to it. We allow it to distract us so much, and we listen to all these people that just don't have the context behind any of the information they're delivering, telling us how important it is, and making us feel like these are the actual fires when they're not. That's a whole nother podcast episode. That probably doesn't fit within the impactful engineer realm. But anyway, I personally don't read a whole lot of news, and that's okay. All that stuff can wait, because those people and the things they have to say don't affect other people waiting on me for information to get them unstuck. So guess what? It's noise. So when I ask myself, what do I do next? It's simple. Who is waiting on me? How critical is it to the project? And when do they need it? That's my priority. And everything else, it waits or it gets deleted. This is where most people flinch, take exception, probably argue in their head with me right now. They hear delete and they think it means throwing away things that might be important. You sort of panic, You'll hoard your obligations, which is just another way of saying you're justifying your distractions. You think it's safer to keep everything for the just in case, but it's not strategic. Remember, It's allocating your in this context, in this episode, it's allocating your energy resources to the few things that actually matter and ignoring everything else. There are so many options to give your energy to. You must pick which one is the most important. If you do not, you're picking obscurity and you're picking draining your energy to anything and everything that wants to steal it from you. You're allowing them to do it to you. It's the leaky bucket. It's the leaky system. You need to make a choice. So be strategic and not reactive. Okay, deletion isn't chaos. It adds to clarity. It will remove the chaos. And when you do it right, it's the most productive move you can make. I can sit here and tell you that with all the conviction in the world. So how do you delete? Well, it's easy. Just don't do it. Just take it off your list right now. The thing you needed to do? Nope, not anymore. You got to be ruthless. But yes, you also need to be precise. So I love questions. Asking the right questions will lead you to the best answers. So better questions, better answers, better life, better work, better everything. So start asking yourself questions. Start trying to form this strategy filter that you have to get rid of the noise. Like, if I don't do this today, who or what suffers? If the answer is nobody, delete it. Or at least delay it. I would just recommend deleting it. If the answer is, well, someone might, then you can ask further questions. Well, are they waiting on me? Is it blocking the project from moving forward? Is it blocking them from moving forward? Is it time sensitive? How time sensitive is it? What would happen if that didn't move from lack of my action over this other thing moving that does have my attention and I am taking action on? Which one beats the other one? Which one's more important? And in which order should they be done? So these are all the questions that you would ask to prioritize. None of it includes reading the news, stopping to check whatever social media you're on, looking at your phone to see if there's any of those little notification icons, accepting a call from a colleague that has nothing to do with the project you have on hand, accepting a meeting where you know that you have no contribution to make when you could simply say, please send me an agenda. I don't know where I would contribute to this. If meeting notes could be taken and I could catch up that way, that would be preferred. Let me know. Start putting in things that give you the ability to implement your energy strategy. Be proactive, not reactive. Right? There's a lot of themes to this episode, but if there is a single one, it is get rid of the noise, maximize the signal. Signal to noise ratio, in infinity. We want to maximize signal and minimize noise as much as we possibly can. So back to these questions, right? If my question is this person waiting on me to move forward? Am I the one holding them up from getting their job done? It's a really good question. And if the answer is no, then I'm not doing that thing. And that's uncomfortable because that person could very well be expecting the thing from you and have no clue that they could be doing something else in the meantime that is actually more important, and that them getting the answer from you immediately is not important. The difference is you would tell them this. I am purposely not giving you or working on this answer right now because there's these other things that are more important. And I will get to you. And if you want help determining what should be done in the meantime while you're waiting, happy to help you with that. That makes it less uncomfortable if you just communicate. But back to deletion. That in itself is uncomfortable. And just realizing that most of what's on your plate doesn't belong to your mission is uncomfortable. I know it's that hoarding mentality that we have. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. If it's important, it'll come back to you. Or you can put it on a list that you never check and just have it in a drive somewhere. That every 6 months you go, oh yeah, I have this list. And then you go back to the list and you read it, and I guarantee you, even if there's 100 items, you're like, none of this matters at all. Try to use that. So what I'm really getting at is like, most of the stuff that you think you have to do, it's fear-based. You don't want to let it go. You just feel like you need to be busy So you want this checklist, and it's kind of like self-fulfilling. You're also afraid to let someone down. So what if you miss something that was important? Well, you can either stay stuck forever creating endless lists and having no priority and just working your face off. And guess what? Still miss things, still have people disappointed. Or you can delete a ton of things, have supreme clarity, maximize your signal, be getting things done at an alarming rate of the right things, and then still miss a few things and have people be upset about it. Which one do you want to do? I think the answer for me is clear. How about for you? So a lot of this too is reclaiming your agency. And what that really means is, to me, is you can make great decisions with high accuracy quickly and feel great about them and be convicted in moving forward. That's what high agency means to me. So delete stuff, increase your agency, move with clarity, gain that energy back that you've been losing on the wrong things and focusing it, pointing it to the right things. That's the power of the message in this episode. So I'll leave you with this. You don't need more input. You need stronger filters. You don't need to be more productive. You need to delete more with ruthless precision. And that goes for everything in your life. It could mean giving up sweets after dinner to improve your health. It could be giving up fixing everything yourself. So the car that breaks down, the water heater, the plumbing, the sink, the wall is starting to scoff and looks bad. The paint needs to be changed. This one appliance went out. That's noise. As an engineer, you might think you need to fix everything. How about you give up some of that stuff? We all like to do all our own accounting, and really this is about control. We have a very hard time giving up control, which leads to no deletion. And that doing all your accounting thing, I'm sure that most of us are just ruthless with our accounting, which is great. But maybe you can have someone else do it. Mowing your acre of grass. Like, spend 2 hours doing that, maybe a couple beers, then you're taking a nap, and then what did you get done? I mean, you could delegate this stuff. You could have somebody else cut the grass. You got kids, have them do it. Just kidding. The point is, delete stuff. Delete it. If it doesn't support your mission. If you like mowing your grass, go mow your grass. Do whatever you want, really. I don't give a shit what you do. You can take none of this and do none of it. I'm just kind of explaining it because I think it might help somebody. All that stuff is noise to me. It steals from our energy and moving forward with our mission. So, and the other thing on this is there's trade-offs. So, like, you will make the trade-offs, and the trade-offs might appear to others or even yourself as being selfish, like I thought, or that I explained before. But that's what life is all about. It's all about trade-offs. You can't do everything. You can't. And you can't be everything to everyone. So this deletion is going to lead to a lot of improved clarity, production, and movement towards your ultimate goal and your mission. But it's also going to appear to everyone else around you as abnormal, right? Because not a lot of people delete stuff. Not a lot of people take that courageous step to start getting rid of things that don't move the needle where they want it to go. And so you're going to have to get over that fear of judgment. Can't believe how much comes down to the fear of judgment, but it does. So let it go. Let a lot of stuff go. I'm not asking you to betray your duty. I'm asking you to question whether it's helping you or hurting you. And what is your definition of duty or obligation? If you sense nonsense in it, delete it. And if you find noise or energy drain, trim it out. And when you're not sure, pause and ask, does the thing that I'm doing amplify my mission? And you might need to figure out what your mission is. And finally, I'll leave you to argue with me through this microphone or through your speaker and in your head, why what I've said is a bunch of crap. And I'll let it sink in that that's the very thing that I'm actually talking about. Let's get after it.